Oh, we are live. All right. So, welcome everybody. My name is Kholah Yaruq Malik. I'm the Dean of Academics and Internationalization at the Millennium Universal College, a higher education professional, and by day, a feminist and a foodie by the rest of the time. So, I have Mr. Wajahat Abbas with us and Raza Soomoro with us. Two exceptional panelists. We will be talking about digital transformation and education. And hopefully, you will have fun listening to us and us talking about digital transformation and higher education or education in general. So, a little about Rajat Saab. You are a founder at Learning Pitch, and this is a winning edtech startup. Tell us a little about your journey, how you've reached where you are today, and if, let's say, there are people, especially the youth listening, how do they become you?
Perfect. Thank you, Kholah. Thank you for accepting me in this program. Basically, I'm a graduate of 2002 of Syed University of Engineering and Technology. Thereafter, I joined multiple organizations, mainly software houses, worked as a programmer. Then I started working as a consultant in around 2005. I used to work as a contingent consultant for Microsoft, along working with different partners like Kelsoft. So I used to work as a consultant in Pakistan, Middle East, and East African region. So with that role, the core job was to travel and provide consultation to organizations like Kenya Airways, Etihad Airways, working on different Microsoft server management products. My area was mainly business process management, content collaboration. So it was around like SharePoint, workflows, those kind of solution. Um, in 2013, I went. I was hired in Emirates Airline, and I was part of the solution design team. So basically, solution design team was a digital transformation team, and that the aim of that team was to have digital transformation journey in Emirates Airline as well. So at Emirates, I worked on two very large project. One project was related uh, to the employee engagement portal, kind of like Facebook for employees. It's a kind of like social networking tool. So basically, Emirates had a culture that we had around like feasibility study, usually which includes so many departments. So usually just a feasibility study usually ran around like you can say for an year before you make any large or big decision, because every decision impacts not only 60,000 employees but the customers eventually as well. So I worked for two main projects. One was the selection for the social networking tool for Emirates Airline. The second was that whenever you go to emiratesairline.com, emirates.com, I mean, you do a lot of search there. So, for example, can I get my guitar while I'm traveling, and questions around that. So, basically, that was related to the enterprise search, internet search. So, there is a very strong engine, HP Idle, running on the background of EmiratesAirline.com search. So, basically, I was also one of the solution designer for that. After quitting from Emirates Airline, I went back to Pakistan. I came back to Pakistan. I joined Microsoft. I worked there for around 1.5 years from their Karachi office. 2017 September, there was a thought which came into my mind that while working in Microsoft and Emirates, I used to attend a lot of online training programs. So, I mean, I witnessed the revolution coming around Coursera, edX, and different platforms, edtech platforms worldwide. So I thought that why not having that professional knowledge, having that professional experience, having good experience from working with in different 6, 7 countries, why not if I able to bring some kind of impact from those organizations to the local Pakistani market. So at that time, I saw that there are very few companies in the educational space which are working on the tech side. So ad tech startups are not right now, the startup culture is more booming on. So you see and you hear a lot of buzz around on every day.
Yeah.
But 2017, it was just started, and education space. I came with a purpose. So basically, Learning Pitch is a mission-driven startup, and basically, our main goal is to provide quality education, accessible and affordable. So, for example, quality education is restricted with these two things. One is accessibility, and one is affordability. So, for example, we
Yeah.
have a platform named as tspeducation.com where we help C and ACCA students. So we saw that, if a kid born in Hyderabad, he has to travel to Karachi, or if a kid born to Multan for their CA and ACC aspiration, they have to travel to the Lahore and Islamabad for their chartered accountancy and ACCA qualifications. So we thought that why not that if we able to give them some kind of like the accessibility and the affordability challenge, if somehow we able to help to those students, that would be great. So
So
so basically one
you
of
broke a lot of barriers and made things possible for students and the youth. So that's excellent. I'd like to take the opportunity here and breaking barrier solution providers. Raza Soomoro is with us, so he's also someone who's the go-to person for most people on solutions on digital. And I actually want to just ask him about when COVID hit and universities and higher education went into a lockdown. In Pakistan, there was a huge dilemma because universities and higher education weren't prepared. Like Wajahat Saab just said, that breaking barriers, anybody in Hyderabad, Sakkar, Sialkot, Quetta, Peshawar, giving them solutions and not having them go through the challenge of coming into face-to-face teaching or coming and using transport, affordability, all those challenges that one faces when it comes to education. So making it seamless and borderless for them. So, Soomoro, I think you worked on the same lines when COVID hit. So, how do you think COVID impacted higher education, specifically in Pakistan, education in general? But what were the challenges, and how did your organization or institution came about overcame them?
Right. Thank you, ma'am Kholah, and thank you for inviting me for this event, online event. I'm actually heading the collaborative provision at the Millennium Universal College for last 4.5 years. And during those 4.5 years, I took on different assignments, which were ranging from quality assurance to international partnerships, local regulatory compliance, and academic delivery and management of that academic delivery. Like the Ma'am Kholah just mentioned about the challenges we faced during COVID-19 and how we coped during that time. We were lucky actually. What we did as back then when I was working with the quality assurance department, we initiated that digitalization within our organization. That okay, since we are a transnational education provider, we do have different platforms. I believe Wajahat will agree with that. Like we have Moodle, we have Blackboard, we have Canvas, we have several other platforms where they do teaching and learning. But at TMUC, at our institute or where I was working, and including other institutes in Pakistan, we were not ready. We were heavily relying on face-to-face tuition, and one of the main reasons behind the face to face tuition was our local regulatory compliance. They were not prepared for even hybrid learning, which I will come to in a bit. So, what we did at our institute was we focused on face to face tuition. But when I said we were lucky, what we did was during our quality assurance academic compliance, we managed to move our core academic team that included our permanent faculty and ourselves who were managing their day to day job to Microsoft Suite. That included the Microsoft 365. And that was a big milestone for us back in 2019. That was a year before COVID. So our teams were ready working on Microsoft Live, Excel sheets, live word sheets. They were prepared to use Microsoft Teams, which you'll be surprised that we started using Microsoft Teams a year before the COVID hit. So our core team were actually using the tools which actually helped us when the COVID hit, and we were actually prepared. We had several options. Even our regulator, a higher education commission of Pakistan, they issued a paper on 26th of March that, okay, look, these are the
Yeah.
three possible solutions you can go for hybrid learning. One of them was Microsoft Teams, which actually does not cost anything to any institution in Pakistan because of their licensing agreement. And then if you want to move or build your own system, which was based on Moodle or any other platform, that was going to cost us like millions of rupees or in like thousands of dollars. And it took like a lot of local universities, because we did our market research in Islamabad, in Lahore, where they don't have any systems in place. They actually hired consultants for their teaching and learning management. So coming back to how we managed was, since I just mentioned, we were already prepared for using Microsoft Teams. We quickly, my team with our other core academic members, we encouraged our staff, although they were all working from home. We started training our teachers, our visiting faculty, how to use Microsoft Team, how to use in collaboration, how to use live sheets, how to use live Excel sheets, how you can share the media with the students. And then, of course, it was not an easy ride. We had to go through a lot of hurdles, because even at larger scale of Pakistan, if I only include Pakistan, was number one, the bandwidth was not enough for Microsoft Teams. The internet devices were not there. The home broadband was not that capable. Now, if you talk about, look at from students' perspective, they were also not prepared. Although they had all the latest gadgets and flashy mobile phones, but they were lacking basic laptops. So there was this huge disconnect between the institutes which were prepared to deliver their teaching and learning online and remotely, but the students were not ready in many cases. And
So there,
lastly, I
yeah.
would,
So you would say that there,
yeah, yeah, and some of the
the students
students,
were
they were
disadvantaged.
unfortunately they were living in remote areas like Gilgit Baltistan, like Kashmir, and they had very limited access to internet. But we managed, because we were ready, and this is how we coped during the COVID-19.
All right. So, Vajat Saab, if you could to just tell us a little more about Learning Pitch. And my question to you would be, you do see there is a digital divide. There are students being disadvantaged because there are platforms that help them, but then again, the technology that fails them. So, what is it that you think Learning Pitch has done? And a little light on how have you been able to achieve any success in this?
Okay. So, I mean, it took around an year for us to develop the content plus the platform itself. We launched our platform in 2018, almost end of it. So within 1 year of time, we were basically appreciated by Pasha. We got the best AdTech Startup Award by Pasha. The same year, just after
Excellent.
2 months, in November, we also participated in the Asian Pacific ICT Award. That was in Vietnam in 2019 November. So basically, we participated among the 16 Asian regional countries and represented the best AdTech startup from Pakistan. Um, I think, I mean, just a week back, I was reading some of the development reports from the World Bank, and basically there is a very famous indicator called as Human Developer Development Index. So basically, that provides a benchmarking that the quality of the human resource that a country is producing. So currently, Pakistan is ranked at 154th out of 189 countries. So Pakistan, I mean, the quality of the human resource Pakistan is producing is among the worst one. It is the lowest in the South Asia. And if you just read the human index, I mean, if you just analyze the HDI of last 20 years, you would be surprised to know that by 1990 and by 2000, Pakistan was the best human resource providing country. So basically, HDI index is comprises of different indicators. So for example, there is an education index, there is a health index, then there is a happiness index. So multiple factors involves to create an human development index. So currently, the GDP allocation for the education of Pakistan is among the lowest in the region. So for example, which was 1.5 last year, it was even less in comparison to Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, and every other country. So you see that in last 20 years,
That's very sad.
unfortunately, I mean, these are some of the hard facts. Unfortunately, we don't have a very good measuring scale so that we can measure the amount of damage that the education sector has faced in last 20-30 years. So for example, for every for everything you have a measuring scale. So for example, if there is an earthquake, I would say that that earthquake was 7.4 Richter scale. So one can imagine that the earthquake was at a larger magnitude level. Unfortunately, we don't have these numbers for the education sector. Otherwise, you would see that where Pakistan is going, where Pakistan is heading right now. So for example, we used to do a lot of work in the small towns in Karachi. So for example, currently we are working on one of the project called as blended learning. So in any area of surrounding Karachi like Korangi or any small place, how they could able to afford a good quality teacher when the student is paying a very low amount of fee. So I think that with internet, with digital, there is a great opportunity, and especially for the
Yes.
startups, that we can make a bigger impact to their societies. So in Pakistan, in Karachi, there are around like 7 industrial areas, and these industrial areas are surrounded by low income families. So I mean, in last 20 years, these factories are getting a very weak quality input. Reason being because those areas are providing, I mean, they are having a very weak education system. So
Of
currently,
course.
what Learning Pitch is doing, we are helping those institutes, because I mean, it is not possible for them to hire a teacher of 30,000. But if we could able to help or empower their teacher, I mean, if we could able to intervene from outside, and if we could able to empower their teacher, so their teacher could have a better delivery. Currently, their teacher's salary is around 8,000 or 9,000. So how could they able to afford a good quality teacher? So masses of Pakistan are facing similar kind of situation. So, I mean, we have a vision at Learning Pitch. We have a vision, as I started, as I mentioned in my talk in early, that making quality education accessible and affordable. So, what I mean, why a child in Korangi could get a very low quality education, because he cannot afford it, and a kid of defense or
Yeah.
Gulshan Iqbal receive a good quality education because he can afford. So that divide is much bigger. And I think with digital, it enable us to provide low income solutions. So for example, these, I mean,
True.
we are working on some of a very low cost solution, that at least we could start helping those students and those schools. I mean, about Learning Pitch, Alhamdulillah, we are getting students for our CA and ACCA education. We are getting students from 40 plus countries. And once we launched our programs, because we have teachers like Khalilullah Sheikh, who was the president of ICAP, he used to teach from our platform. So we had a very renowned faculty affiliated with us. So once we went live in 2018, I still recall that I got a call from India, and there was a girl speaking that my name is Divya, and I just saw a lecture of TSP education on YouTube. She was speaking I mean, she was talking to me in English, and she mentioned that, I mean, those lectures were in Hindi, and they are really good, and I want these lectures. So I told them, yes, definitely they are available to everyone who is on internet, so there is no digital divide kind of stuff. So basically, she tried for at least a week to make a transaction from India to Pakistan, but we don't have any payment gateway established with them. So basically, she remitted the amount from her aunt from Malaysia, and
So
basic so
solution.
so
Yeah.
so basically, we have helped not only students from Pakistan but from Afghanistan and Pakistani Urdu speaking, Hindi speaking natives who are living in Middle East and the Western world. So basically, they are learning from us. So primarily, the model is based on Coursera style lectures, self-paced learning, blended with live lectures and WhatsApp group support.
Yeah, I think that is the future because I was going to have that as a point in the conversation as well. The future of hybrid blended learning. And Soomoro, if you could tell us about is the so I always say that I also wrote an article about this that in all of the digital transformation that was taking place, somehow we focused on the students and we obviously focused on the technology. It gave us a lot of divide. It bridged barriers, but people forgot about the teacher and the fact that the teachers that were 20 years behind needed skills and skill set and tools to actually implement. So, Soomoro, if your take on the faculty that you had to train, and at the end of the day, the student impact. More importantly, my question to both of you would be the hybrid blended model, and is it here to stay? And I think that is the future. I believe in the blended hybrid learning model, where the student studies at its own pace, and I've seen what Learning Pitch is doing, and I think that's the future. So, Soomoro, you faced problems with the people. We have the technology, we have the learner. Is the teacher ready?
Yes, Kholah, you're right. We did actually tried our best to bring our teachers, especially at higher education, to a level where they can understand how to actually contextualize their course and deliver it online because they were not ready. It's not about just how to use the platform. I guess Wajahat here will agree with me. There are two types of misunderstanding we have right now when we talk about teacher training. It's not like you can either a you can use the Microsoft Teams or any other platform, or you have to actually contextualize how you have to teach using the online teaching and learning tools. So this is the misunderstanding right now we have, and this is what I faced personally when I went into classrooms full of teachers actually, that now look, this is how we are going to implement our next semester.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to COVID, our students cannot come to campus. We have the same modules, same units, same papers, same teaching and learning methodology by our partner universities, but unfortunately or fortunately, now you have to deliver it online using our tools we have. Now the next question was, okay, we know how to use the Microsoft Teams or Moodle. Let me give you an example. We also teach art and design students, and art and design students, if you know, they most of their studies include hands-on experience. They have to feel the fabric. They need to know how in the digit even in the digital kind part of their learning and teaching, they still need to know that personal touch from teacher, that okay, this is how the color combination works. And then there was another challenge. I remember some of our computing teachers, they had this challenge where they need to open the Microsoft project to teach their students. It itself is a very heavy application. So imagine you have to open a Microsoft project in your laptop and then open up MS Teams on your laptop, and then you have to share your screen. It requires maybe 32 GB of RAM, which was not possible for our teachers.
So
So,
most
and
of our
then,
people.
and lastly, we have like I'm giving you examples of each and every faculty had challenges. Lastly, since Wajahat also mentioned about ACCA and CA students, I have worked with a lot of Karachiites who are working on education technology and ACCA, with especially related to online teaching and learning. Our teachers, you will be surprised to know, they actually found out a way how to teach accounting students, and that was a bit funny. They actually moved their cameras towards their registers and then they started writing. and because they needed somewhere where they can write, they can explain. Yes, there was whiteboard there,
Trusting
but
teachers, they will find a way. The teachers will find a way.
yeah,
Definitely.
that was funny. But I'm sure Shahid here will know and he will add to it that now technology has quickly adopted to the teaching and learning, especially in ACCA. They have this chroma technology where teacher is still visible, then the whiteboard is merged with the teacher. He can still write looking at the student. So there was another challenge. If you look back at the whiteboard or you look at the student, so the teacher is still looking at the student. He's writing on a transparent board, so the transparent board is not actually inverted to student. That is also not mirrored. So what you write is what students see. So that technology, that kind of technology is in Pakistan. I'm amazed. There are people in Karachi, they're doing it. We are also talking with them. We want to bring that technology to our institute. So yes, you're right, Kholah, when we talk about people led technology, who our teachers, do they understand? Yes, they do understand how to use the platform, but unfortunately, our teachers are still not capable to contextualize their teaching and learning lesson planner coursework into blended learning mode.
Raza,
So
I feel
I
very
do
glad.
see.
I mean, sorry to interrupt you, Kholah. Raza, I feel very glad to tell you that Learning Pitch was pioneering in bringing that learning glass technology in Pakistan
Wow.
in 2018. That I mean, while writing on the board, you could able to see the student. So basically,
Mm.
that took around, like, I mean, when I watched those videos on YouTube, I
Mm.
tried to import them, but that cost around $15,000. So we went to Karachi,
Oh
Botal
God.
Gali. We brought like
Mm.
40, 50 samples of glasses, and it took around like 3 months. But we able
Yeah.
to get some kind of jugaad,
Right.
and then we able to have this technology. So we were pioneer of that learning glass technology in Pakistan. And if you would able to see just our YouTube channel as well, TSP Education, you would able to see one thing which I would like to add here, that I mean, it is not only about education and official use cases. I have three kids. I mean, three son. My second son has speech issues. So basically, he used to attend speech therapy and those kind of programs. So before COVID, my wife had to take her to Clifton at Zauddin. It took around like 40 minutes, 50 minutes drive, then a 30-minute session, and then 50 minutes back to. So that just 30-minute class requires 3 hours of time. And then the transportation plus fatigue and all those issues. With COVID, the teacher insists us to start at working on Zoom and just online live classes. I mean, in the start, it seems difficult to us, but after COVID, now even the physical classes has started. But you know that we prefer to have that speech therapy class online live. So it is not a recorded lecture. It is not for a normal kid. It is for a kid which has having difficulty in speech, in listening, and that I mean, now we prefer the live model. So I think definitely what Kholah said, that definitely it will, the hybrid and the live solutions and those technical solution, definitely it is there to stay. Now coming back to the digital transformation side. Now digital transformation for me is that earlier, for every technical transformation or digital transformation, you require the IT support guy to help you. Now what digital transformation is
Of course.
doing, it is enabling everyone to, like, I mean, come up with any idea and any solution that requires no technical or programming skills or a programmer. So for example, I will name two of those tools which are very famous nowadays. One is called as Servicenow. So Servicenow is a platform, is a cloud-based platform on which you can build complex technical solution just on the fly. So these solutions are called as no code solution. So you can build an accounting system, you can build an any complex system which requires a programmer to code, but those, I mean, that requires you just to have some kind of workflow, and you could able to design complex software on the fly. And that platform also allow you to host those solution over there. So it is not only about building those solution online, but rather hosting it then and there, and you just run it from there. So you don't need any programmer or app designer to design or
So
write code
all
for
those
you.
people are also, so you're actually broken barriers there too. So wonderful,
Exactly.
Wajahat, and wonderful, Soomoro. You both are exceptional people, solution providers, and I think that people that are technology, not as technology savvy, turn to you guys, and the likes of you in Pakistan. We're very happy to have both of you. More importantly, the digital trends are changing. There's transformation happening in education, and the kind of work that both of you are doing. I feel that Pakistan is headed in the right way. Thank you so much for today and coming today. And we definitely need to have another episode on just digital transformation in education for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Khola. At the end, I just have one request to everyone, that as I mentioned, that the all of the indicators, unfortunately, either it health, human development, or education, is not favoring Pakistan right now. So I would request everyone of CxO global team member as well, just
Wonderful.
to focus on that part, especially the education part. And I think everyone has to play his or her role. And I think education, I mean, as Nelson Mandela said, that education is the most powerful weapon using which you can change the world. So if you want to change
Yeah, I think we're
if you
using
want to change the
the
Pakistan,
so
if you
yeah,
want to change the
this is why.
Pakistan, definitely we need to have a powerful education system. Thank you, Khola.
You're
Thank you,
welcome. Thank you
Wajahat.
so much,
Lovely
Ajay.
meeting you. Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am, Kholah, for this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Signing out. Thank you, CXO.